Welcome to the Steel Curtain Podcast. It's Sunday, November 23rd, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are 6-5 with a 31-28 loss to the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field in Week 12. I'm Josh Yourish, as always, joined by FanSided.com's Mark Powell. And are we surprised with how this game went? Mason Rudolph obviously making his first start of the season, replacing Aaron Rodgers, who was probably never going to play and decided to drag it out in a really annoying fashion all week. The offense looked okay enough. The Steelers tend to live by turnovers and die by turnovers, and in a lot of ways today they kind of died by them.
Yeah, I really don't have any qualms with look, you obviously don't want these turnovers, but like Mason is a backup quarterback. I think he just played like a backup quarterback. So I don't have any huge qualms there. I think the play calling for him was very similar to Rodgers in a lot of ways. And I think that might be a place where we can kind of pick apart, but like Arthur Smith has been great all year, and he's, Rodgers obviously goes down, so like he's going to be a little more conservative. So I was overall fine with that. I think the issue here was the defense, frankly, but yeah. Did I think they would win this game? I hoped they would win this game. I think we were all kind of in the same boat. It's like this was one before the year and even last week that I marked down as like they need this game if this is a playoff team, if this is a team that can actually make some noise in the playoffs too, like even just win a game. And I think they proved to me today what I've been kind of leaning towards the last few weeks, which is just no.
Yeah,
I hate to be, negative Nancy here, but like, just no. Like this, they find ways to lose. We can get to the fourth quarter at some point. I don't want to just rant forever, but there are just some very avoidable mistakes that they tend to make on a game by game basis, and therefore I just don't trust them.
I just don't think I don't think the Steelers are a very good football team.
Yeah, it's not there. It's not there.
I
that's
never
okay
did
to say.
Yeah, I never did at any point in the season to the chat, because the chat happened a little bit early. From Gummy Gum 123. Now that y'all have seen the Mason Rudolph experiment, again, please don't ever disrespect Aaron Rodgers. Brother, did you watch the same game I did? That was the Aaron Rodgers offense.
They played the same game. It was the same thing that would have happened if Aaron was out there.
Yeah, and Mason Rudolph was terrible over 10 yards downfield. Anything over 10 yards downfield was just a prayer. That's been the Aaron Rodgers experience all year. I thought with Rudolph willing to go under center more, the run game, I thought they did a lot of really interesting things. Spencer Anderson at fullback. They hit a couple big plays early in the first half. The Bears kind of decided, okay, we're loading up to stop this. We have 3 injured linebackers out. We'll just start on the offensive side of the ball, because there are a lot of things to kind of diagnose on both sides. The Bears came into this game with their top 3 linebackers out. They lost another one during the game. They even suffered another injury late in the fourth quarter at linebacker. They had their top corner has been out all year. They also lost Tyreek Stevenson. So this is a really banged up secondary and second level of the defense. And the Steelers did very little to exploit it. It looked like, in a lot of ways, it kind of looked like a Matt Canada offense. Just all the jet motions, they were doing much more interesting things in the run game and had more complex patterns in the passing game. The screen game actually worked pretty well. But just, they were trying to create conflict and communication issues. To the Bears' credit, they didn't have a ton of them. There weren't busts in the second level. The Steelers' tight ends did not dominate this game in a way that you would think with so many linebacker injuries. But the Steelers ran the ball fine. I think they ran it pretty well. This is an offense that has to nickel and dime its way down the field, and that's what it did. What was it, 17 play, 95-yard touchdown drive in the first quarter.
Yeah.
That's an amazing drive for this offense.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
This feels like there's no alternative to that drive, I guess is my issue. It's like when do we push the ball down the field? When do we, I don't know, do anything but that? Can this offense do anything but that? And
I,
that
yeah.
that makes it very tough to come back in games like this, you know?
I don't think it can.
And in the fourth, like, you know, what are you gonna do? I don't know.
I don't think this offense can push the ball down the field,
No.
Rudolph or Rodgers.
Yeah, it doesn't make a big difference, you know?
No. Did you see any notice? Like, to me, the big thing was more under center, more clear runs instead of like, check with me's at the line and Rodgers kind of having that autonomy. I thought that helped the run game a little bit. It kind of stalled out in the second half. And then when you have no vertical stretch to the offense, everyone creeps to the line of scrimmage. Everyone creeps to the line of scrimmage. There was no yards after the catch. These are issues that the Steelers have been having with Rodgers for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We saw some movement from Mason a little bit, but we also saw that cause some problems with sacks and turnovers. So were there any major anything? I mean, I know you kind of said it's basically the same offense, but did anything really jump out to you on that side of the ball?
Not. I wish there were more. I really wish there were more, because like it felt like the kind of thing that, you know, or this game felt like an excuse to really kind of like, you know, open things up a little bit, you know, like, I mean, Mason is what, 30, 31?
30, I think 30. Yeah.
Yeah. And like Aaron Rodgers is 41 years old, going on 42 here pretty soon, just saying. So, you know, like this felt like the kind of game where they can maybe open things up, try a couple bootlegs, like whatever, you know, not that Mason Rudolph is like incredibly fast, but you know, I just feel like it could help a little bit, like especially when you feature it, like 3 tight ends in your offense pretty regularly. Like it would have been nice to see a bit more of that. Like, you know, you said it, 3 linebackers were out going into this game, a 4th got hurt in this game. You know, usually those are the matchups that you could theoretically take advantage of if you have that kind of tight end depth. You know, they did make some plays. I don't want to pretend that they were fully just inactive, but yeah, I didn't really see enough. But I do want to get to one of our questions here about Will Howard.
Yeah.
Oh,
we're already starting Will Howard discourse.
No. But it popped up. It popped up, and it was very early in the show, and I don't want our boy Derpy to feel like we're ignoring him, because we most definitely are not. Like, you know, I understand the discourse. I get how football fans think, where it's like, you know, like, let's just go to the next option. He's a young quarterback, whatever.
Let's mystery box. Yeah.
Let's see what we have. That being said, that's not how the Steelers work, obviously, right? Like, that's not how Mike Tomlin will ever operate. Like, he is always in the mindset of like, how can I win as many games this season? Him putting in Will Howard would be pretty much forfeiting a lot of their remaining games.
Yeah.
So, and you know, I'm not trying to talk bad about Will Howard either. He could eventually become a good pro for somebody. But I don't personally see it at his rookie season. He's a 6th round pick. Like, no.
Yeah.
The simple answer there is no. So sorry to cut off our conversation, but I just did want to make sure, because like, there were a couple Will Howard comments there, and I just feel like we need to address it. The short answer is no, that's not happening.
So I think something in this specific game, and there's kind of 2 sides of the same coin a little bit, is you have to just run the ball. Mason Rudolph isn't going to be able to throw you into a game, isn't going to be able to, you know, win a game dropping back 30, 40 times, whatever. Or why are they running the ball so much? Open it up for Mason Rudolph. You mentioned some some more play action and bootlegs and things like that. I would have liked to see some of that. There really just wasn't any of it.
Yeah.
But I think you saw at the end of the game what happens when they do open it up, right? Like that they don't have the receivers to do that. No. And they don't have the quarterback to do that either, even if they did have better receivers. But this offense is just not built to play that way. And I think the offense was generally fine. Like, my issues are on the defensive side of the ball. And I think we just probably maybe jump to that because this is a defense that was trending in the right direction for a couple of weeks. And now it's just completely fallen off against I came in last week, I flagged a concern like, okay, you're playing with these lighter personnel groupings on defense. What happens when a team gets you into condensed sets and makes your cornerbacks tackle? Well, we never saw that today because the Steelers just played like at times 5 linebackers. They played Peyton Wilson, Malik Harrison, and Patrick Queen together at an alarming rate. They basically were a base 4-3 team today. Too many heavy bodies on the field. And they gave up a ton in the passing game over the middle of the field specifically. They played a ton of cover 3 again. Like they just fell back into their old ways because we got to stop the run. And that's exactly what Ben Johnson wants you to do. He's begging you to put slow linebackers on the field because then he can hit chunk plays behind you. And I'm so frustrated because I felt like they figured out how this defense is supposed to play the past couple of weeks. And they completely abandoned it because Tomlin was afraid of them running the ball. And yeah, okay. But if you're giving up so many explosives and chunk plays in the passing game, like Caleb Williams, I don't know what his final stat line was. I have it right here. 19 for 35, 239, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. The numbers don't tell the whole story, but
he left a lot of meat on that bone. Like he could have had a lot more. He missed a ton of throws, especially over the middle of the field.
Yeah. I was definitely displeased with just how they played overall. Like, you know, to your point, like this is a pass defense and a pass rush overall that took some really nice steps the last few weeks. And I thought, okay, they're playing Caleb Williams. Like this is the kind of quarterback. I'm not saying Caleb's not going to be really good at some point. He could get there, but he's not there right now. And you know, this theoretically was the type of quarterback that I thought they would thrive against. I assumed if they lost, it would be because they didn't score enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, it didn't turn out like that. I was really disappointed with it, you know, especially like, you know, on you know, I guess defending their own end zone. It didn't feel like it was fully there. I don't know. There were some miscommunications. Like I know there was one by Ramsey on the back end. You know, it's just I expect more from you know this high priced defense, and we've talked about this ad nauseum. It's just like, you know, every time they perform poorly, it's the same conversation. It's like this is supposed to be a team that is led by its defense, and it just simply is not when it matters most, and that bothers me, you know. And like, granted, I love TJ getting that you know, it's just that defensive touchdown. That was fantastic, but you know, yeah, the second half especially, they had a really poor stretch. I have a tweet here pulled up if I can find it, that had like a stretch of drives starting the second half. Yeah, Bears' last 5 possessions by Mark Caboli here. Shout out him. TD, field goal, TD, punt, TD. So that was just, you know, that, like, it's just tough to, that's a, like, when your offense has its backup quarterback, like the defense obviously just has to perform better. And that may sound simplistic. And yes, I'm oversimplifying things, but like you just need your defense to perform a little better, especially in the second half there. And I was incredibly disappointed there.
To your point with Caleb being the type of quarterback that this defense should feast against, especially with their starting left tackle out.
Yeah.
He's a guy who holds onto the ball. Like he's a guy who wants to extend plays and buy time back there. And you saw it on the TJ strip sack, which went for a touchdown. And like, that's a great play. But the Steelers gave him, by playing so many linebackers and so much base personnel, because they clearly wanted to stop the outside zone running game. And the Bears have been one of the best running teams in the NFL. So like, I understand some of the thought process there is make Caleb Williams beat us on schedule. And I don't hate that idea, right? Because he's not super accurate. He left a lot, as I said, a lot of meat on the bone in this game. He missed a lot of throws, but you've been succeeding, and you succeeded against Joe Flacco by playing more soft coverages, keeping things in front of you, letting your 4-man rush win. making the quarterback pat the ball and hold on to it with some pre-snap rotations on the back end and different things. And you abandoned like a lot of that. And you just kind of went back to, we're loading things up, a lot of heavy bodies out there, and he's going to have quick answers in the quick game. Like FTN Fantasy has first read throw rate. They won't have the numbers up yet, probably not till Tuesday. So I won't even have them in the show tomorrow. But I'd be really interested to see what the numbers are, because I felt like Caleb, who is not a guy who hits the top of his drop and rips it to his first read, was doing that a lot today because it was just open. Like they gave him so many easy answers in the passing game. And that's what you don't want to do against a young quarterback. Like, make him pat it, make him make mistakes. He's going to. Great for the maturation of Caleb Williams, like that he was able to play within the structure of the offense. Like, I think this is a game that would give you a lot of confidence. But the Steelers, that dominant pass rush and like a starting left tackle out, that's not a great offensive line. They got an 18% pressure rate, and Caleb Williams had a 2.6 second time to throw. Like, that's just not the recipe at all.
Yeah, no, not at all. And yeah, I was really disappointed in how they to your point, they definitely loaded up against the run, and it's very Tomlin-esque. I mean, again, like you said, the Bears are very successful in the run game, but I feel like Tomlin just kind of views things through one lens. It's like, if we stop the run, we'll stop the pass. Like, it doesn't matter. And that, again, is probably too simplistic. But, I just like Greg
Olsen last week on the broadcast he was doing with the Rams and Seahawks, and I think I mentioned this on one of the pods last week, framed it as like a pride thing. Like, a lot of coaches, when teams go heavy personnel, and it's not that the Bears were going a ton of heavy personnel, like they're an 11 personnel team, but anytime they brought 2 tight ends on the field, and they can do it because they have Kmet and Loveland, the Steelers matched with either 5 down linemen, which, their base 3-4, or they got into like a base 4-3 where they had TJ Herbig, 2 interior defensive linemen, and then Wilson, Harrison, and Queen at the second level, which I hate. You're just putting coverage liabilities all over the place.
Yeah, not what you want.
But Olsen framed it as a pride thing, as like, coaches for so long have been like, running the ball is a toughness thing. We can't let them run the ball on us. Like, give up an extra half yard per carry by keeping an extra defensive back out there, or not bringing an extra body into the box, because it'll lower the explosive pass rate by like 5 to 10%. Like, if that's the trade-off, it's a no-brainer. But in these coaches' minds, it's like this pride thing. We have to stop the run. We have to stop the run. And they're just putting themselves in a situation where you get coverage busts, where you get that free play where Caleb Williams hits the deep shot to DJ Moore, where they're exploiting Harrison coverage. I haven't seen the coverage numbers, but I imagine they targeted him quite a bit today. Like, off the top of my head, they definitely picked on number 50 as much as they possibly could. I just think it's such a flawed way of thinking, especially when you stumbled in to a really good ethos for this defense just last week. And like, you've been heading in the right direction with more 2 high safeties and like splitting the field, playing more cover 4, cover 2. You go back to like man coverage, cover 3 stuff today, and you get carved because of it. It's so frustrating. And I was coming around on Tomlin, like, okay, we're doing this thing. We're doing this thing. And it's not happening. He's so stuck in his ways. And that's why I'm really, really fed up with the way Tomlin's coached this team and navigated this season. And at least he went for a 4th down today.
That was a plus. But I do want to, so per the per like my own reading on this defense, right? Because I've just been really curious about the whole like Terrell Austin, Mike Tomlin dynamic.
Yeah.
Austin is apparently the one calling the plays in Mike Tomlin's defense. That is what I have read. First off, do we believe that? Second off, if that's the case, who do we blame then?
I mean, you blame Mike Tomlin, like you're a defensive-minded coach. Well, I'll start with the second question first. You're a defensive-minded coach with the most
obvious answer, in the NFL. But
you blame Mike Tomlin.
Saw some questions.
I to the first point, like I think there's a lot of discussion about this, and I do believe that Austin is like calling the plays down to down, right?
Yeah.
But it's
Who
Mike
gets the
Tomlin's
final
defense.
say? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
Tomlin
and
obviously gets the final say.
and Tomlin, it's Tomlin's game plan in terms of like how we're approaching this week. Like Tomlin was definitely the one. And if he wasn't the one who had the idea, he signed off on the idea of we're going to live with 3 linebackers on the field against this offense that likes to play a lot of 11 personnel, that gets to the outside zone run game. So yes, we need like sideline to sideline speed and things like
Mhm.
that. But we're going to sell out to stop the run because we don't think Caleb Williams can beat us. And again, I don't even hate that mindset, right? Because he missed a lot of throws.
Yeah. Yeah.
But once he is beating you, and Ben Johnson is beating you more than anything, because
Yes.
Ben Johnson was scheming things open all damn day, you've got to say, okay, the idea I came into this game with was wrong. We are not getting any pressure. He's getting the ball out quickly. They're not running the ball great, but we're getting carved drive after drive. Let's adjust. And again, I don't think there's any of that happening on game day. And to me, like I barely bring up Terrell Austin's name ever because it just doesn't matter to me. Like it's Mike Tomlin's defense. I don't care who that is. I don't care who the defensive
Yeah.
coordinator is, literally at all.
Yeah. Insert placeholder. Yeah.
Yes, it's Mike Tomlin's defense, and that's I'm just so fed up with the way he plays football. It's so conservative and
Yeah.
it's so stuck in 2010. Like, yes, okay, you want to stop the run, sure. Last week you were super permissive against the run game. You limited explosive passes and you won the football game. Like your defense has been playing better that way. Why now do we abandon that just because, like, is it because of Caleb Williams? Like some things you see, you think he's going to hold on to it anyways. And that's, again, it's not a terrible bet, but once you see you're on the losing side of it, don't double down. And they never changed.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Tomlin's defense would have dominated the Raiders in 2003. That was a great Super Bowl, by the way. Yeah, it's frustrating to see the same old. It's like they have a couple games where they're actually like making progress, trying new things. Like, we come on the pod every week and we talk about how they made this and that adjustment, and like, I almost feel like I'm giving Steelers fans false hope, and I feel kind of bad for that because, like, in the back of my head, I know that at some point they're going to go back to their regulars, and that's just not gonna go well for them. It's just like, and like the fact that 3 out of the next 4 games, I mean, Bills, Ravens, Lions. I mean, they have the Dolphins in between there. Hopefully, they can win that one at home. You would think, but. Like, those are dynamic quarterbacks.
But I don't have any faith that they're going.
Those are dynamic quarterbacks who can pick apart a defense. And like, to your point about adjustments, I mean, how many times have we talked about how like halftime happened and I felt like nothing changed? And like, again,
I'm not one to.
I mean, things change. Like, I'm not saying nothing changes, but I'm saying that the right things don't change. Like, they don't make the right adjustments. And it feels like an offensive mind like Ben Johnson can definitely take advantage of that.
He found answers, like, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, he found answers from the beginning.
Some of it's on the players too. Like, I'm not trying to just blame coaching week after week because like that seems silly. But they acquired these veteran players who clearly have had success elsewhere. So like at some point you do kind of have to point the finger at coaching, and like we've probably pointed it more excessively at coaching, or at least I have. But I'm a little concerned, I guess.
I'm not one to harp overly on, like, I mean, I just did a whole diatribe on adjustments. I don't think like halftime is like, my understanding of an NFL halftime is that they're not really like actually changing anything. They don't really have time. Like, guys are just going in there and you have a little break and you come back out. Like, it's not really anything you can structurally change in like a huge way. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's ever really been true. I do think, though, you adapt throughout a game to what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And I just don't see them adapting. It's the same thing that happened the first time they played the Bengals. It was clear that their plan was wrong. You're trying to live in man coverage. You can't man up Jamar Chase. Joe Flacco's getting the ball out quickly and you keep blitzing him, but you're never going to get home because he's getting it out in 2.1 seconds. And you know what you did the entire game? That exact freaking thing. And it just feels like that again, a different version of it. Like it's this different game plan. And I've asked for bespoke game planning, but you stumbled into the wrong one. And defenses, they're so indexed on turnovers, right? Like I brought this in saying they kind of tend to live and die by turnovers. Today they died by them. The Bears have been that way as well. So I don't think the Bears are like some great team. They've had one of the best turnover margins in the NFL. A huge part of that is luck. Like Kyle Duggar, if he hangs on to that sailed pass from Caleb Williams in the second half, that's an interception. Like that's significant. There are moments like that, but when you're not prioritizing down to down success and you're valuing these swings of turnovers that can be determined by the bounce of an oblong ball, I don't think that's a great way to live on the defensive side in the NFL or offensive side, because I think this was a very conservative offensive game plan as well. Again, I don't hate it because Rudolph clearly couldn't complete anything over 10 yards downfield. But I think it's pretty clear, like they're living in this world of if we win the turnover margin, we win games. And there are other ways to win games. They lost the turnover margin. They lost this game. It's a big reason why. But there are other ways to exist. Like you don't have to do this.
Yeah. I mean, because they rely so heavily on turnovers, their margin for error is so slim, which is why I mentioned things like halftime adjustments. Like that in reality is not something that's going to make, like you said, like the difference in a game necessarily. Sometimes it can, but usually it's the stuff you plan for beforehand. And when you're planning for this team beforehand, you should plan for the adjustments they might make to your defense or your offense. And that's kind of what I don't understand is like, did they not think that Ben Johnson might figure them out at some point? Like, did we just like not have a backup plan or like not have, or maybe they do and they're not working, which some might say is even worse. But I wanted to pivot.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I wanted to ask you, pivoting back to the offense, because we've talked like a lot about Rodgers on this pod, right? Like pretty much every week he comes up for good reason.
Yeah, I have a Rodgers report that I do on Mondays every. There
you go. Yeah. So
primary topic.
Yeah. So based on what you saw from Mason Rudolph, do you feel any differently about Aaron, or do you feel like? I mean, there were calls before this game to just bench Rodgers, indefinitely.
We had floated the idea here.
Yeah, right. So, like, do you feel any differently about that concept? Do you think this was kind of a fair tryout for Mason based on the play calling that we got?
It's hard to say like the play calling held him back, because I think a reason the plays were called that way is one, the personnel that exists on this offense, and that's not going to change in any future starts. And two, the limitations of a Mason Rudolph, who, despite his early career success throwing the ball downfield, has not been a great downfield passer in the recent years. I loved a lot of the stuff they did in the run game. Even if it wasn't the most like effective in the second half and things kind of tailed off a little bit, I really liked how creative they were able to get with it. And a lot of that is because they were under center more. And I just don't think you're going to do that with Rodgers. He wants to survey the defense. He wants to be in shotgun. He wants to be able to change to a pass or a run. And there's a lot of great value in that, but you're not getting into this pre-snap motion to create advantages like counters off these Darnell Washington jet sweep motions and Spencer Anderson as the fullback. Like, I think that stuff is all really interesting. None of them pop for explosives today, but I definitely think they can. I like that element of being in the offense. Rudolph is super limited and doesn't give you the splash kind of plays that Rodgers still can pull out every once in a while. Like his pressure sensitivity is still a massive problem, and we are going to be living in a quick game world. I think the accuracy like in that quick game world is pretty much 1-to-1 with Mason and Rodgers at this point. I'm fine going back to Rodgers if he's healthy at this point. The experiment to me was, okay, if we have a quarterback who isn't terrified to get hit on every down, are we able to access a little bit more downfield, a little bit more over the middle of the field? And none of that happened today. Whether that's the fault of Mason Rudolph, whether that's the fault of play calling, whatever, it didn't happen. So I'm fine saying, okay, I'm done with this experiment if Rodgers is healthy to go. Shane Kubis from StillCurtain.com. This podcast is powered by StillCurtain.com. Shane joins us, as he always does, at about the 30-minute mark of these instant reaction shows, and we love having him on here. Your thoughts on the Rudolph Rodgers discussion that we were just getting into?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because the first article that I have up post game is about the fact that Rudolph exposed the Steelers' flaw, which is the fact that it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback; they cannot push the ball down the field.
Yeah,
and that's for a different reason.
Relevant. That's relevant.
It's for a little bit of a different reason with Rudolph, but I think what's become clear is their idea of how to attack down the field has not materialized this year. And I think it was honestly a lot of hoping DK Metcalf would be a true deep threat for them, that they could push the ball down the field to him off of play action and off the running game success. And it just hasn't happened, no matter who's a quarterback. And again, like Rodgers, he's a better deep thrower at this point still, but he also doesn't do it because he's afraid that he might get tickled at some point in the pocket. It feels like he just it's impossible for him to stay in the pocket right now, it seems like. And we'll see if that gets any better with, a broken wrist. We'll see about that. And then Rudolph is just not good, unfortunately. That's just his problem. It's kind of been the story with him. But I do think a lot of it is, again, they have one person on offense they feel is a deep threat truly, and they can't get him the ball because he's not as good of one as I think they were hoping, frankly.
They're using DK like they want him to be George Pickens.
Yeah. And guess what? Could not be more different from George. It is about as far as you can be away from each other while still being good players.
Yeah. And remotely similarly sized, kind of receiver.
DK looks more like Debo this year. It's Debo Samuel.
Yeah.
He looks more like him this year, and not even the best version of Debo Samuel, just like the mid-tier version of Debo Samuel. That's what he's been better at doing, is that type of stuff.
Yeah. The yards after catch stuff has been fantastic.
For sure.
They've gotten him in motion and kind of gotten him the ball quickly and let him do his thing, because he's a force in the open field. But
yes, he is.
Yeah, when they're thinking big man, throw fade, that's not going to work.
If only it was that simple.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
That's not how that's not how every wideout is wired, I guess. And I think they just saw his size and were like, oh yeah, we can just throw it up to this dude. No.
And he is a fine deep threat, but he's more wins early with speed and then boxes out. He's not a back shoulder guy, and those are the guys that Rodgers has always loved. Rudolph just wasn't remotely accurate on any of his downfield.
He wasn't, for sure.
Yeah.
And with Metcalf too, like you talked about it, he's a deep threat, not in the way that guys who are his size usually are, which is, like you said, the back shoulder stuff, or the ability to go up and get the ball in the air above everyone because they're bigger and stronger. He is a deep threat in the same way Rashid Shaheed is a deep threat. That type of deep threat. Which again, it is weird. I'm not saying I'm not saying the people who think DK Metcalf should be one of those jump ball receivers. It doesn't make sense, because it does. You'd think he would be, but we have a lot of evidence at this point to suggest he's not. So.
How that stiffness, DK coming out of the draft, it was he's stiff. He won't be able to run any in-breaking, out-breaking routes. How that has actually manifested is in a lack of flexibility at the catch point and body control type stuff.
Does not have that.
He's not. And to be that 50-50 ball winner, you actually have to be more, I won't say George Pickens because that's just easy. You have to be more Travis Hunter than DK Metcalf. It's not about size. It's about contorting your body in weird
flexibility,
ways.
spatial awareness.
Yeah, proprioception. And Travis Hunter has some of the best proprioception I've ever seen of a football player. Just it's remarkable. And DK just doesn't have that.
He doesn't.
Shane or Mark or whoever wants to jump in, the limitations in the passing game, a lot of it was kind of getting to screen game, and then there was some play action stuff. The average depth of target off play action was above 10, which I love to see. There are some Rodgers games this year that it's below 0.
I know. Which
we'll take it. Small victory.
Where are we? I mean, obviously TV copy it's a limited viewing angle.
Yeah.
But like, where do we feel like the limitations are? Just like no one separating. The yards after the catch really weren't there today. Like it just felt so limited, and it's not just a Rudolph thing.
No, it's not. I think ultimately the receiving play, like the playmakers aren't good enough.
Yeah.
Realistically, they're not. And I understand that, like, Roman Wilson is a young player. He had a couple opportunities that I thought he did a good job on his route. It's just Rudolph didn't hit him and wasn't able to hit him. I think there's opportunities that are being missed, but also I do think there's not enough of them being created that especially Rodgers is willing to take. Because there's one thing, Rudolph will throw that thing. To his credit, he will throw it. Doesn't mean it's going to go well, but he will do it. Rodgers just doesn't, because he's like, I'm not waiting for this to get open, or he doesn't trust his receivers the way that Rudolph does. Like, that's one thing you'll never be able to say to Mason Rudolph is they doesn't trust whoever he's throwing the ball to, because he absolutely does, for better or for worse. So I think Wilson got some opportunities that didn't hit, but I think he did his job on a lot of those. I think it just comes out like Metcalf needed to be a better player than he ever has been, and he's not. And that was my concern with the trade initially, is like, you're trading for a guy who, you're giving up a second-round pick and then paying him $30+ million a year to be a receiver one for you. I just didn't know if he was one, period, especially for a good offense, let alone like one good enough to supersede all the other issues that this team clearly had offensively. And what has happened, unfortunately, exactly the thing that a lot of people, including myself, were worried about. So
yeah. I mean, I think expecting Metcalf to not just be a wide receiver one, but a wide receiver one that can, to Shane's point, overcome a lot of these other issues.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of wide receiver ones in the NFL who could not do what the Steelers are asking.
No, many of them not.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to focus on here. Like I'm not trying to trash DK.
No, it's just they're being asked to do too much. Like he's being asked
exactly, and they theoretically could have gotten a wide receiver two at some point, but like, do I think that would have made a huge difference in the way the offense is structured?
Just depends.
Not necessarily. Maybe. I just like I don't see it with how quickly Rodgers throws the football. I mean, we've talked about that again a lot on this pod. It's just like dude's like 1-2 step gone, and it's just like it's really tough to build an offense around that. And Rudolph is Rudolph. To Shane's point and to your point, Josh, it's just like he's kind of willing to just kind of let it rip, and that may sound good as compared to Rodgers, because he is not willing to let it rip a lot, but it also brings a lot of danger, as we saw in this game. In my mind, the quarterback play just isn't fully there, but also the offense isn't really scripted for this to be a success with limited quarterback play, I guess. Sorry, that was a lot, but
no.
I just don't see it. Like how would you have built this offense knowing Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback? How would you have built this offense to be that much better than it is?
I would have spent
something,
first-round picks in back-to-back drafts on offensive tackles, so you just know he's going to be protected.
Oh, well, there you go. Easy. Easy.
Well, I have good news for you, Josh.
he's set. He's good, right? No issue.
To your point on DK, before we kind of like veer off in other directions, I thought that was a great point, Mark. Like, even other wide receiver ones in the NFL aren't necessarily equipped to like handle what they're asking of DK to be this like target funnel, to be this Amon-Ra St. Brown, this Puka Nacua type of guy who just, I'm thinking about it in terms of, because I cover so much college and then NFL, I think about a lot of evaluation and translation and stuff. And as dumb as it is, it's like that meme of like, at the very basic football fan, it's like just wide receivers who can catch the ball. And then it's like all these different measurables and all this stuff. And then it's just wide receivers who can catch the ball. And not that DK can't catch the ball, but like, it's so incredibly valuable to just be able to bring everything in. Like, even if you're not the best separator or whatever, like just you can, because then you can funnel targets to that person. You can go into a game knowing, hey, Puka's going to get 12 targets no matter what, and he's probably going to bring in 8 or 9. And like, that's so valuable. And I think about that with Mekhi Lemon at USC, and that's why I really love him in this draft. Emeka Egbuka was kind of a guy like that. Like, he's going to catch everything. He's not the fastest, whatever. And I think that's something that I don't know if they missed it, because like this is just a funky offense anyways. They had to get rid of George Pickens. This was their best chance of acquiring like something of a wide receiver one. And it's just a weird situation. Like, does this offense need a full reset? Like, you're losing Rodgers. Your O-line's really young. And while I trash it a lot, there are some pieces I like.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just like this whole thing needs an overhaul this off season? Like, I just don't know where you go from where they are. They're in such a weird place with all these tight ends and a super old quarterback. Like, what is your path to improving it?
You're asking the eternal question, Josh. I think the problem ultimately is Arthur Smith's offense is really good at being okay. Right.
True.
I agree with that.
Once you get enough talent into it, which they have some talent into it, but not all of it, so it's inconsistent. But you get games every so often. You're like, all right, I see the vision when Darnell Washington is like tackling people as the offensive player. Like, it works pretty well.
Can we acquire Derrick Henry?
Right? Can we acquire? Yeah.
Can we just Derrick Henry?
But that's the thing, right? If you have enough talent in Arthur Smith's offense, it can look good. Like you go back to the Tennessee days when they had, again, Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And Ryan Tannehill was playing good quarterback, and they had like A.J. Brown. And that was working. But when you don't have elite talent in an offense like this, and you're trying to just, like you said, funk it up pretty much, right? Like how many things can we do? And let's run a jet sweep to DK Metcalf. That'll be fun. Or whatever it is, right? It just eventually it kind of all fades to this of like, you don't know what you're going to get from week to week with this team. And how do you upgrade the talent and then also have the ceiling on that talent? Because he limits the ceiling naturally, just the way he wants to play call and the way he wants to do things. So even if you add, let's say you go get a receiver one in the draft, let's say Cardinal Tate or someone like that, somebody you think could be a true receiver one for you. Yeah, whatever.
There you go.
Whoever it is, right? Maybe you get that guy. And now you get DK back in a better role as a number two. He doesn't have to, you don't have to funnel targets to him. Okay, well now DK Metcalf's going to get paid $30 million to catch 4 passes a game. So it's like, because that's what's going to happen in his offense. He's not going to catch many passes. Like, you're not going to get a lot of receiver 2 targets in this offense. So it's just funny. Like,
Mark, to that point, like we've praised Arthur Smith a fair bit. I think he's done interesting stuff in the run game. I think Shane's point is a good one. He does kind of limit you. He's also a guy who sent Ryan Tannehill, and Ryan Tannehill is not really like a Hall of Famer.
No.
Average.
I would say
who have his quarterbacks been? So like
sufficiently average.
Is this in a world of which is sadly the reality where no big sweeping change is going to happen with this organization, with Mike Tomlin or anything? Is Arthur Smith somebody that they should probably keep around long term and try to continue to see if, okay, you get the quarterback, maybe things do open up a little bit. That's a big if you get the quarterback. Or is he just a guy, like, is he a guy that's been limited by the quarterback play, which I guess you could apply this to Mike Tomlin as well. Or is he a guy who just isn't that great of a play caller?
I would say he's a fine play caller for the talent he has. Like the Steelers have built their offense around Arthur Smith. Mike Tomlin voluntarily brought him in, and they, it was this whole narrative that, oh, Mike Tomlin is finally being forced to bring in like an outside offensive coordinator. Like, I don't know if you recall that, but I
or like the third time of his tenure.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, like he can't
because he can't develop young coaches.
Yeah. He can't just promote someone, so he has to bring someone in. It was this whole big deal. The truth is, it's probably somewhere in the middle. I think Arthur Smith is a fine offensive coordinator for the right team. I've seen him get head coaching buzz from various places. Like that could kind of be a solution, maybe, where it's like,
where it's out of your hands.
When I drafted a new quarterback, or whenever the Steelers decide to get their quarterback of the future, I don't think I would want Arthur Smith being the play caller for that guy, because I think I would want to bring in a play caller that would fit with that quarterback. Now, I don't know who that quarterback's going to be. Maybe it'll be someone who fits in Arthur Smith's scheme. If so, I don't know if that's a good thing. I'd prefer to wait till they get the quarterback and then move on from there and find someone who fits better there. Because I think Arthur Smith is perfect for what they're doing right now, and maybe even what they do next year. Like, let's say they don't draft someone this year, he could be good for next year too. He could be just fine. build up his own coaching profile a bit, and move on. You know, like I don't think it's a bad marriage. I just don't know if it works with like a young QB. You know, like a rookie. You know, like I don't see it in that way, but I do see it with Aaron Rodgers, and I do see it with Mason Rudolph and guys like that who are just kind of like veteran journeymen who are what they are. That was a long answer, but I'll let Shane go because he can probably add a bit more context.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, I agree with the sentiment there, Mark, because I think the way I view Arthur Smith, especially this year, like last year, midway through the season, I was kind of like, all right, what are we doing here, guys? Like what?
You were more out than I was.
Yeah, for sure. And to be fair, I think it's not that he's bad. It's like, okay, when the offense is not good and then you have Arthur Smith as your offense coordinator, it's not going to be great, right? Like,
yeah,
it's the thing. But that's kind of the point is he is a floor offensive coordinator and floor play caller. He is not a ceiling one. Like he's not going to unlock something that does not yet exist for you. He's going to try to make it work with what you have and keep you from bottoming out. But like you look at his tenure as an offensive play caller, so going back to 2019, those two Tennessee offenses that he coordinated, to be fair, finished top half of the league in both points and yards and actually finished second in points back in 2020.
With the best quarterback he ever had.
Yes, exactly. Like that's the thing is whenever that team had, again, to be fair to Arthur Smith, Ryan Tannehill is not exactly like a world beater, but he kind of was that one year, and it partly was because Arthur Smith was pushing the right buttons. But you had Derrick Henry on the team, you had AJ Brown, I believe you still had Corey Davis. Like that was a really, really stacked offense talent-wise. And to his credit, he allowed them to do the things they had to do, especially with the run game with Derrick Henry. I think he did a really good job unleashing him and being a part of his emergence into being one of the best backs we've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I think clearly when he doesn't have that level of talent, he kind of just gets them up to par, right? Like he allows the offense to run as efficiently as it can with what they have.
Not to belabor this.
Yeah.
Who are the play callers, and maybe how many are there actually who are ceiling raisers when they don't have the quarterback?
Right. That's part of the problem is like,
this is like the Mason Rogers thing where like, I just want to see it. Like I do actually want to see this Steelers team or Smith or Tomlin or whatever with an actual good quarterback in his prime again, because we'll just get an answer. Like I would love to have a clear answer on like what's holding back what, because there's still a convincing Mike Tomlin argument. And we haven't talked about the defense. And I'm very interested in your thoughts about the defense today, Shane. There's still a very real argument to be made that like Tomlin could still be one of the absolute best coaches in the NFL. I disagree with this, but one of the absolute best coaches in the NFL. He hasn't had a quarterback since Ben, and he still hasn't had a losing season. How's that even remotely possible? I think it might be coming this year because look at the schedule and they're 6-5 right now. But like, I just want an answer on it. And that's really what's kind of frustrating me about the Mason Rogers situation. And now about this, like, is Arthur Smith the right guy going forward? Because we just don't have a quarterback. Like,
we don't. I think Arthur Smith, you could kind of view him for me as like the Andy Dalton of offensive coordinators, where it's like if you fire him,
I would say
you could. That might be fair.
Come on, Shane.
But it's more so like in the sense that if you fire him, you have a very good chance of downgrading at offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
But you may never get to where you need to go if he's your offensive coordinator, unless everything is perfect, right?
Well,
that's kind of the thing.
I was going to call him the 9 and 8 of offensive coordinators, but
well, I mean,
then he's perfect.
Yeah, who else could we be?
Before we jump to the defense, we kind of alluded to like, I think Mark, you brought it up, like, well, you bring him back next year, maybe you don't have the quarterback yet, you kind of like run it back a little bit, and I got like chills. The thought of running this team back.
It's not the same product back, but it's similar.
I don't disagree with you. I think it's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But holy hell, that's bleak. We're going to do it again?
We might.
Hey,
I'll be here next year with you. You
have a chance to play, with Aaron Rodgers at 42. You got to do it. Like you got to do it, Josh.
Even if it's a different quarterback, like even if it's, I don't know what Mac Jones's contract situation is, but even if it's like him,
he's on a 2-year deal, so we can't even hope for Mac Jones. Gosh.
Oh my God,
he's not out there.
He was kind of my pie in the sky, and that's so sad.
Maybe a trade, but you're gonna trade draft capital for Mac Jones?
I'm not. I'm not.
Is Kirk Cousins free, or is he?
He's basically dead, it appears. I don't know. We'll have to see what he looks like this week, but certainly looks like he's out there kind of dragging it out.
He's around. Yeah. He's around.
He's cashing checks, man.
Yeah, he's absolutely the ultimate cash checker.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, respect.
Yeah. Okay. We talked about the defense a little bit. Shayna, I'm interested in your thoughts. The Steelers are a base 4-3 team now?
Yep, why not? Let's try something. Let's try something else.
What the hell was that?
Screw it. Why not?
Playing better.
I'll tell you what. They were like, guys, the Bears can run the ball. We could never allow that to happen. We can't let them get away with it. We can't let Ben Johnson do this to us.
No.
And then they let him do everything else except for that. So it didn't matter. Yeah. I heard your point earlier about like the fact that we were playing like 5 linebackers at sometimes. I think they just wanted to flex on the Bears because they have linebackers. The Bears didn't. Like they wanted to remind them, like, hey, look at us. We have all the linebackers. We could give you one right now. We probably could spare one if you need one. That's what it kind of felt like at times. And I'm like, get Malik Harrison off the field, guys. No offense, Malik Harrison. Get him off the field. What are we talking about?
I will say all that's
such a liability in coverage and doesn't come close to making up for that in the run game.
No, he's fine in the run game. He's not. It's like put an edge rusher out there or something instead. Who cares?
All that stopped the run chatter, and the Bears still finished with over 100 yards rushing, I believe.
I think so. I have to double
over
check.
4 yards of carry, which I know is not like it's not amazing, but like
they were selling out.
You would think with all this stop the run chatter, you'd want to hold them to like 3 yards of carry. No, that's
we did better against the Packers, who beat us by how many points? Stopping the run. Who cares? So you know why? Because Jordan Love had a career day. Caleb Williams didn't have exactly a career day, but he should have. He missed like 12 throws.
Yes,
I felt like in that game.
That was my like he left so much meat on the bone.
He did.
Yeah.
Didn't matter whatsoever. Like literally didn't matter. The fact that there's so many times I'm like, oh man, there's a wide open receiver, and then he just airmails it, and Kyle Duggar bounced it off his face. Like that's the other thing is this team who thrives on turnovers couldn't catch the ball today, despite Caleb desperately asking them like, please catch 3 of my passes in this game.
Yeah,
and they couldn't do it. So,
which is the problem with building your entire team around forcing 4 turnovers.
Let's have the corners and safeties catch the ball. That's what we have to bank on because they're very good at doing that historically. Defending.
That's why they play defense.
Yeah,
they had a few go off the face mask.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Gosh, so like,
this podcast always ends the same. It's just us sighing and being like,
what the?
And me trying to formulate a question. Is the split safety experiment done? Like Mark, we talked about this a little bit. Like, are we just back to old Tomlin defense? Like, is it done or was this a one-off?
I think they'll go back to it. I don't know. Like,
I think so too.
If we learned anything from this week, it's that they don't care what happened last week. So
this is true.
Even if it works,
it's a new week, man.
Even if it worked, it's a new week. They could do whatever they want,
whatever they feel like.
Yeah. Hopefully, they learned from this game in terms of what worked and what didn't. You would hope going up against a team like the Bills that they're open to, dare I say, adjustments. So yeah, I don't know. That's my short answer. I don't have a lot of hope in this team, but like I like to think that. Considering their stretch here, the next 4 games, like they're going to have to be open to trying things that worked. I was going to say trying new things, but in this case, it's just trying things that they had success with.
The thing with the split safeties, real quick, Josh, you're talking about that. I think, and I hope that this isn't the case because again, even if it is, they could have changed this during the game, right?
Could have.
Yeah, could have. They don't.
They're allowed to.
They probably were thinking, well, we're playing Caleb Williams. He's not a veteran quarterback at this point. He holds the ball a long time. Let's just muddy it up and throw guys at him and just play our normal coverages that we like to run. And he, to be fair, it didn't always work, but he did enough to beat that. Mm-hmm. And they didn't adjust to it. They're like, yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. It was not fine, unfortunately. But I think that because next week is the Bills game, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Because they're playing Josh Allen, they're going to do more of the split safety stuff. But then what's going to actually go wrong is this is jumping to next week. What's going to actually go wrong in that game is they're going to not defend the run well enough, and James Cook is going to have 200 rushing yards, and Josh Allen's going to have 100 rushing yards when TJ goes around the end and he just replaces him and runs for 40 yards or whatever he did in the playoff game a couple years ago. That's the problem that next week. This game I think stems from them playing an experienced quarterback who holds the ball a lot, and they didn't adjust to it.
Weirdly, the worst thing that happened maybe in this game is the TJ strip sack for a touchdown.
Yeah.
In that it like was the exception that proved the rule, because Caleb Williams did hold on to the ball. He did do like
silly,
the
goofy
dumb
Caleb
thing.
Williams things. Yeah.
Yeah. He tried to buy time. He thought he was more athletic than he was, and he got stripped, and it cost him, and he never did it again. And like for all the throws he missed, I'd be feeling really good about this game if I was a Bears fan from what you saw from Caleb Williams. And the Steelers, it is mind-boggling. A couple of different things I wanted to bring up. I thought Nick Herbig, while he didn't do that much as a pass rusher today, I thought it was one of his better games as like in coverage. He kind of made some plays as a run defender. That tackle for a loss was amazing. Like just knifing through guys. I thought he had a really, really solid game, just like all around, even though the pressures weren't there. And then offensive, this is just like a note stump as we get into wherever we want to go at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Leaving, it is such an advantage that the Steelers have to be able to leave Darnell Washington on an island with good edge rushers. To do it so repeatedly with far and away the Bears' best edge rusher.
Weird.
Too much dip on the chip there, Mike.
sense.
Sorry. Yeah, too much dip on the chip. It's fun, right? Like
it's fun.
But at some point, Montez is whooping him a couple of times there. And at some point, it's like at least chip your tight end.
Yeah.
Maybe like if
you have enough tight ends out there.
Yeah, like put 2 tight ends maybe. Like, and then they also blocked him with the running back once, which that was cool. That was a fun play. That almost didn't work.
So is that to the Rudolph Rodgers thing? Is that a Rodgers thing? Like he's going to get them into a better protection look?
Probably. I mean, I hope so.
I think so.
Yeah. I like to think Aaron's like, I know
he's got 12 years. You would hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Darnell, I know you're 300 and I guess 9 pounds now is what I heard on the run, but whatever. Like I know your tackle size, but we're probably not going to ask you to, guard Montez Sweat multiple times.
Yeah.
I would think is fair to say on
a total island.
Yes.
Just unfair, really, for him.
It's not fair to him. So, like, yes, I assume Rodgers would probably be like, I don't know about that. Maybe I should. Maybe we should.
And then the Gainwell one definitely doesn't happen, in my opinion. Like, to the argument of like, is the offense better with Rudolph Rodgers? Like, I like that Rudolph has some of that autonomy stripped away because I think they do more under center run stuff.
Yes,
but it is also very helpful to like have a kind of general that's going to get everyone. And there haven't been like those types of bad coverage protection busts. The sacks and pressures have been Rodgers just drifting and floating. So he creates them anyways.
Yeah.
But I just pretzeled myself.
It feels worse whenever like it feels worse when the offense is just failing to do the thing right.
Yeah. When it's
Rodgers just like, oops,
kind of,
I'm just going to kind of, for a minute and then die because you get hit. But like with Mason, when he gets sacked, though, it also looks terrible every time. He looks like he's getting killed because he really sits there. Like to his credit,
Mason tends to like spin into sacks, and that makes it look way worse to me.
The patented left Kenny Pickett spin thing we used to do.
Rodgers just like falls into a hole in the ground, whereas Rudolph like spins and goes 5 yards backwards. It's not a good look for anyone, but I prefer the dying.
Yeah, Rudolph takes the hits that Rodgers thinks he's going to take.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
He's not getting hit like that, but Rudolph is, and he's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
No, it's tough.
Does anyone else have a note stump at the end, and then maybe we can kind of we haven't addressed the fact that the Ravens are now the Steelers with 2 games ahead. Like,
about that
note stump, and then we'll talk about like the race for. Like this could go really, really south.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So anyone else, anything from this game you saw? Any observation?
I think Kenneth Gainwell, the last 2 weeks especially, they're finally using him in a way that doesn't make me want to die a little bit when he touches the football.
That's
because
good.
There's in their still curtain chat on Twitter, it's become a thing where every time Kenneth Gainwell would get thrown the ball, I would say that a day came off my life, because there was a point in the season where I think he was averaging like 2 yards per target or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
And it's gotten better in the passing game and more specifically in the running game today, 10 carries for, I think it was 92 yards. Obviously the big 55-yard run that I really wish he paid off with a touchdown for my fantasy team's sake, but that's a different conversation.
Great fantasy pickup.
You're in a deep ass league.
No, I'm in a league that all the running backs that everyone likes are either hurt or not playing this week. So
yeah,
I have Devon A-Chain doesn't play this week.
So, I have him on a bye as well.
There you go. But yeah, Gainwell looked really good. Warren's numbers, like his yards per carry, don't look great, but that's because Warren always has that happen to him where he'll have like the most spectacular 7-yard run you've ever seen and then get caught in the backfield because we're not good. But like he looked really good. Obviously, Metcalf had the technically rushing touchdown, which that's always fun when you get the laterals. Honestly, we could have had more rushing yards if Mason Rudolph, his run, that was so funny. Yeah. I've never seen that man run that fast in his life.
No, I literally yelled, "Who is that?"
Yeah, that might be the fastest he's ever run ever, like period. Yeah. I mean, he's over 30 at this point, so that's very funny. But the running game looked really good overall. I think that had they been able to lean on it even more than they did, I think it would have been a 200-yard game instead of a little under that for this one. But that's really, it's kind of the biggest thing I have as a positive, just trying to inject a little bit of positivity into it. That's really the only thing they could really get going for them consistently.
Yeah. Well, let me be the negative one then.
Of course.
No. To Shane's point, I thought the running game was there today. I do wish that they also could have leaned a little more heavily on it. I mean, they averaged 5.2 yards per carry, 2 rushing touchdowns, like pretty solid. To the passing game, Gainwell was the leading receiver in terms of catches with 5. No one else had over 3. Just want to make sure to point that out. And in terms of the offensive line, I know Broderick Jones is a frequent, I don't want to say joke of the pod. Yeah. We'll go
frustration.
He went out this game.
Weird play too.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to play next week, but
what was he doing?
I think
someone pulled his head down, like one of the defensive defenders.
Weird.
Like it was weird. They said it was a stinger, I think, is what he ultimately had. So he might be fine, but
he should be okay.
That's better than what it could have been because it looked super awkward. And he just kind of jumped into the guy in a strange way that was
weird.
If he were out, I think would
Calvin Anderson.
Calvin Anderson, right?
Yeah, it's not who I want. It would be Calvin.
Somebody, So bit of a weird position for the line to be in. Would like to see more from the tight ends, frankly, like especially against like a weak linebacking core.
Against the 0 linebacker core for the
I mean, again, that's not exactly saying a ton. But those are my notes. And also just wanted to say happy birthday, Tommy.
Yes, it is his birthday, Tommy.
Yeah, our guy
positivity.
Tommy. There you go. Good thing they
they delivered on his big day.
Yeah, I made sure to message him like, hope the Steelers win for you today. Did not happen.
Yeah.
Did not happen. So that's on me. I take the blame for the loss. But those are my notes.
Okay. So before we close, the Steelers are 6-5. Mm-hmm. The Baltimore Ravens are 6-5.
It's great.
The Steelers and the Ravens played 2 more times down the stretch. The Steelers also play, and we've mentioned the schedule a couple of times, the Buffalo Bills, the Detroit Lions, and Miami and Cleveland, but the Buffalo Bills and the Detroit Lions. This, they always split with the Ravens, so it's so hard to be like, they're going to lose to the Ravens. Like there are easily 4 more losses on this schedule. Is this the year we see the first losing season for Mike Tomlin? You ready to go there?
I'll tell you what, Josh. We know what's going to happen. Okay,
I know
they're going to find a way to make the Week 18 game the deciding factor somehow for this division. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know how. I don't
think it'll be for the division. I bet it'll be for the 7 seed.
Yeah. Maybe. Either way, they're going to make that game matter somehow, despite every point, every bit of evidence suggesting that it shouldn't by that point. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's going to be the Ravens collapsing again at some point. They did struggle against the Jets and the Browns back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
Whether it's them struggling or they pull out a stupid win against the Bills somehow, because the Bills, to be fair, very susceptible right now.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility of that. and they just make this game matter. They're somehow both teams are 10-6, or maybe the Ravens are a game up and that they end up tying it and it gets into weird tiebreaker crap. Whatever. Something that's what's going to happen. We know this, unfortunately. This is the same story will probably play out. It'll be the same thing, just stupider this year, in my opinion, for a lot of reasons. But it'll be, I think, the same thing. That's just, I have no choice but to believe that at this point about this team.
Yeah. My take is that the Ravens maybe don't win out, but come very close. Mm-hmm. And the Steelers beat the Dolphins and the Browns. Mm-hmm. And then they beat the Ravens in the final game of the season with Tyler Huntley as quarterback, because that is so on brand.
It is on
brand.
brand.
That is how we get to over 500 and miss the playoffs. Let's go.
Man, that would be the better fun.
That is the dream. That's why we're fans.
You know what?
That's why we're here. That's why we're here.
That's really well done.
That's better than mine.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Mine is too hopeful. Yours is more accurate. So.
Yeah, one game over. Tomlin gets to keep his record. They keep him for another season, and we're back. We're right back here next year.
We're rolling it.
I got you.
That is, I honestly,
poor Josh.
Just well done. I was gonna come out and be like, I don't think this is a good team. I think there are 4 more losses on the schedule easily. I think they could lose to Miami.
Could happen.
But I'm not going to do that now, because that's exactly
the amount of times that I've been in that seat that you're currently occupying, Josh, of me looking at the schedule and this team be like, this team's not good. They shouldn't win 10 games. Why are they doing that? It doesn't even benefit them at this point. They're doing it out of spite. They're just doing it to hurt all 3 of us specifically. No one else. No, but it's literally like that. It's like, oh, they're not good. Yeah, and then you look up and you're like, well, they beat that team. They're better. That's definitely better than them. They lost to this team, though, for some reason. That's weird. And then you get to week 18. You're like, well, we're in like every playoff scenario that exists somehow for some reason. Yeah. So let's see what happens. That's literally what it always is.
They're going to beat the Dolphins by like a scoregami.
It's going to be like 14 or it's going to be like 11-8 or something. I don't even know if that is one.
They're going to beat the Browns like weirdly convincingly, just to, because like
Shedeur Sanders
or something.
To be fair, 14-3 Browns right now, by the way.
Yeah, they're at 14-3, I thought I saw.
Yeah, Shedeur, a pick, but also like a 50-yard bomb, I think, at one point.
They're playing the Raiders. I forgot.
Yeah, I did predict this game, to be fair, and it's already gone, but a 3-3 tie is what I predicted for this game. So that's already gone. That's already gone. But yeah, I don't know. And by the way, Chiefs win, of course, so now they're still factoring into the
wait. They won?
Risk. Yeah, I think it was overtime. Yeah, 23-20.
Oh my god, of course.
So they're still factoring in with the wild card. Of course, we can't even bank on them losing for.
Well, this aligns perfectly with my Steelers go 9-8 but miss the playoffs.
That's true.
Prediction.
That's true.
So we're good. Don't worry.
Well, that's where we'll leave it.
Yeah,
an hour and 8 on a game that was frustrating, that felt like it should have been a win, and also felt like they had no business winning at any point.
Hey, what else could you ask for?
Just a classic Steelers Sunday, and we'll be back next week for another one. I hope you're back with us on the Still Curtain podcast, powered by stillcurtain.com. Shane mentioned an article he has up. He's not the only one writing. There's so much good stuff on stillcurtain.com. So if you're with us and you want more Steelers coverage, go there after every game, go there every morning. The first thing you do when you wake up, open stillcurtain.com, and then text your friends right after that to subscribe to the Still Curtain podcast on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts. We really appreciate your support. I'll be back on Monday. Shane and Tommy will be back midweek. And come back and check everything out. Then Mark and I and Shane, and we'll all be back. The whole gang will get back together to break down.
We'll do it. We'll run it again next week.
We're running it back next week.
Have
like the Steelers.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Can't wait to do it. And I hope you're with us for it. Until then, have a good one. And as always, go Steelers.